Have you ever wondered how the United States went from a young, scrappy nation to an economic powerhouse? The secret lies in a fascinating, yet often overlooked period right after the War of 1812. Between 1815 and 1840, America didn't just rebuild, it completely reinvented itself. This wasn't just bouncing back, it was a total game changer, you know. It flipped everything upside down and made us rethink how we do things. Let's dive into the incredible story of how America found its road to prosperity. The year is 1815. The smoke from the War of 1812 has cleared. The nation, having survived its second major conflict with Great Britain, is filled with a newfound sense of confidence and national pride. But this wasn't just a political victory, it was an economic wake-up call. The war had exposed America's heavy reliance on foreign goods, especially from Britain. The blockades had choked off trade, paralyzing the economy. The message was loud and clear. To be truly independent, America needed to make its own stuff. This realization sparked an explosion in domestic manufacturing. Before the war, most production was small-scale, done in homes or small workshops. But now, investment poured into building factories, especially in the Northeast. Textile mills, powered by the rushing rivers of New England, began to dot the landscape. Instead of shipping raw cotton to England and buying back expensive finished cloth, America started spinning and weaving its own. This shift was monumental. It created thousands of new jobs, not just for skilled artisans, but for a whole new class of factory workers, including many young women who left their family farms for a taste of economic independence. This surge in manufacturing didn't just reduce reliance on imports. It kick-started a cycle of innovation and growth that would define the century. But making goods was only half the battle. How do you get them to market? The country was vast, and overland travel was slow, expensive, and often treacherous. A farmer in Ohio could grow a surplus of wheat, but it might rot before it could reach the hungry cities on the East Coast. The solution came floating down the river, belching steam and changing everything: the steamboat. While Robert Fulton had demonstrated his steamboat in 1807, it was in the post-war years that the technology truly exploded. Steamboats could travel upriver against strong currents, a feat impossible for rafts and keelboats. Suddenly, the Mississippi and Ohio rivers weren't just one-way highways to New Orleans, they were two-way commercial arteries. The time it took to travel from New Orleans to Louisville dropped from months to just weeks. This steamboat craze drastically cut transportation costs, opened up vast new territories to commerce, and connected the agricultural heartland with the industrializing Northeast and the global market beyond. It was the internet of its day, shrinking the country and creating a truly national economy. With new jobs in factories and new markets accessible by steamboats, people started moving. Cities like New York, Philadelphia, and Boston began to swell, their populations growing at an unprecedented rate. This wasn't just internal migration. Waves of immigrants, primarily from Ireland and Germany, began arriving, seeking opportunities and escaping hardship back home. They provided the labor that fueled the factories and built the infrastructure of the growing nation. This rapid urbanization and immigration brought new cultures, new foods, and new ideas, but it also created new challenges like overcrowded housing, sanitation problems, and social tensions. American society was becoming more dynamic, more diverse, and infinitely more complex. This entire transformation is what historians call the market revolution. It was a fundamental shift from a nation of independent farmers who produced mostly for themselves to a nation of consumers and producers linked by distant markets. While this created immense wealth and opportunity, it wasn't a golden age for everyone. For the artisan whose skills were replaced by a machine, or the farmer who went into debt to compete, the market revolution was a source of anxiety. It created a growing gap between the wealthy factory owners and bankers, and a new, permanent lower class of wage workers who owned little more than their own labor. Economic prosperity came with a price: increasing inequality. The drive to unite the nation didn't just stop with rivers. You know, it went way beyond that, right? Visionaries dreamed of creating artificial waterways to link the great economic zones of the country. The Erie Canal is seriously one of the coolest examples of engineering, right? It's fascinating how it changed everything. Completed in 1825, this 363-mile marvel of engineering connected the Hudson River to Lake Erie. It was a game changer. The cost of shipping a ton of goods from Buffalo to New York City plummeted from $100 to less than $10. The canal turned New York City into the nation's premier commercial hub and unlocked the economic potential of the entire Great Lakes region. The success of the Erie Canal sparked a nationwide canal building boom. Soon after, an even faster technology emerged: the railroad. Though still in its infancy in the 1830s, the iron horse promised speed and reliability that even canals couldn't match, setting the stage for the next great leap in transportation. As the North was industrializing, the South was experiencing its own economic boom, one built on a single, powerful crop: cotton. The invention of the cotton gin had made short staple cotton profitable, and the textile mills of the North and Great Britain were hungry for it. King Cotton totally took over the Southern economy, shaping everything in its path. This expansion of cotton cultivation created immense wealth for planters and fueled national economic growth, providing the raw material for industry and the capital for investment. However, this prosperity was built on the brutal and expanding system of slavery, creating a deep and tragic contradiction at the heart of America's economic success. All this rapid economic change naturally spilled over into politics. The old political parties fractured, and a new one emerged: the Whig Party. The Whigs, led by figures like Henry Clay, championed a vision of economic modernization they called the American system. They advocated for protective tariffs to help domestic industries, a national bank to stabilize the currency, and federal funding for internal improvements like roads and canals. They were the party of progress, of factories and banks, often clashing with the Jacksonian Democrats, who were wary of centralized power and the growing influence of the wealthy elite. These political battles shaped the very direction of the nation's economic development. Meanwhile, the siren song of cheap, fertile land pulled settlers westward. The vision of manifest destiny was taking hold, the belief that the nation was destined to expand across the continent. This relentless westward expansion provided an essential outlet for the growing population. It offered a chance for farmers to acquire their own land and for speculators to make fortunes. The process was often violent and came at a terrible cost to Native American populations who were forcibly displaced. But for the expanding American economy, the West was a source of endless resources and a crucial engine of growth, attracting settlers and investment in a self-perpetuating cycle. But this period of frantic growth was not without its pitfalls. The economy was like a runaway train, fueled by speculation, easy credit, and boundless optimism. In 1837, the train went off the rails. The Panic of 1837 was a severe financial crisis that led to a prolonged depression. Banks failed, businesses went bankrupt, and unemployment soared. It was a harsh reminder that the new market economy was volatile and vulnerable to cycles of boom and bust. The panic exposed the weaknesses in the banking system and forced a national conversation about the role of government in regulating the economy, a debate that continues to this day. So, from 1815 to 1840, America was utterly transformed. It was an age of incredible innovation and ambition, of steamboats and factories, canals and cotton. It laid the economic foundations for the modern United States, creating a national market, fostering industrial power, and spurring westward expansion. But it also created deep social divisions and economic inequalities that the nation would grapple with for generations to come. This complex and contradictory period set the stage for the triumphs and tragedies of the century ahead. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this journey into America's economic past interesting, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into history. Let me know in the comments what other historical topics you'd like to see covered. See you in the next video.